Bhad Bhabie took a memeable moment on Dr. Phil and turned it into pure cash. Me outside. And now that she has gone viral once again for her diss track and feud with Alabama Barker, I thought what better time than now to revisit Danielle Bregoli's incredible lore. We're gonna get into her humble beginnings on Dr. Phil, her incredibly successful music career, and her various beefs throughout the years. It starts in September 2016 when Danielle and her mom, Barbara Ann, are guests on Dr. Phil. The title of their episode is absolutely crazy. I want to give up my car-stealing, knife-wielding, twerking 13-year-old daughter who tried to frame me for a crime. There was definitely a lot going on there. So Barbara Ann's at the end of her rope because Danielle is stealing cars, buying a stripper pole for her bedroom, planting powdered sugar, and then calling the police and claiming that it's Barbara Ann's stash. I mean, she's just stressed the fuck out pretty much. So she brings her daughter to talk to one of the many reasons why Oprah's on my shit list. Dr. Phil. And on the stage, Danielle continues to wild out, and Dr. Phil asks her, since you've taken a liking to Grand Theft Auto, what are you gonna do when you steal from the wrong person and get prosecuted? A few audience members give a little chuckle, and that's when we get the moment.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah. Catch me outside, how about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
Catch her outside, means she'll go outside and do what she has to do.
Barbara Ann translating is going to get me every time. Okay, so they continue the interview, tears are shed, and honestly, it all really paints a picture of a little girl who's hurting. It really all started out very hee ha ha, and then shit got real very quickly. Ultimately, the ever so gracious Phil McGraw, sarcasm, gives Barbara Ann the choice between sending her daughter to jail for Grand Theft Auto or letting her go to Turnabout Ranch, which is a treatment center in Utah for troubled teens. And as they're promoting this ranch, the kids are doing their homework, they're tacking their horses, they're going to therapy. It really looks like an amazing, serene place, but more on that later. Obviously, they end up sending her to the ranch, and in the meantime, Danielle goes absolutely viral. DJ Suede, the remix god, remixes Cash Me Outside, and it blows up to the point where it ends up on the Billboard Hot 100. The memes are all over the internet, and no one can stop talking about Danielle Bregoli. A few months later, she returns to the Dr. Phil stage to cash us all up on her progress. No audience this time though, unfortunately. And she speaks really nicely about the ranch. She loved her horse there, the admissions director comes on and says she was great. Now, teenage Danielle is leaving the hood life behind and wants to be a nurse. And even better, they talk about Danielle's viral moment.
Well, I guess what's good for you is I made you just like how Oprah made you. You were nothing before I came on this show.
Thank you for that.
It's true. Anyway, Danielle takes advantage of her newfound fame and dives into the music industry. She signs with music manager Adam Kluger, despite most people telling him it's a horrible idea, and she releases her first single, These Hoes, in August 2017 under the name BHAD Bhabie. Y'all, this music video has over 90 million views on YouTube. It peaked at number 77 on the Billboard Hot 100, making Danielle the youngest female rapper to debut on the chart. She continued to release more music. We got Hi Bitch, What You Know, and so on. And the hits keep coming throughout 2018, namely the infamous Gucci Flip Flops featuring Lil Yachty. The song helps her snag a Billboard Music Award nomination for Best Female Rapper alongside Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. BHAD Bhabie's at the top of her game, collaborating with artists like Lil Baby, YG, Asian Doll, City Girls, Ty Dolla $ign. It's incredible, and mind you, she is only 15 when all of this is happening. At the same time, another internet sensation is trying to kickstart her music career, and it's not really going that well. See, we can't talk about BHAD Bhabie's lore without talking about Woah Vicky. I honestly don't know how Woah Vicky became known on the internet. I vaguely remember something about her pretending to be black, a la Rachel Dolezal, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. The point is that she posted a diss track about YouTube and Cloud House sensation Rice Gum. Unfortunately, the diss track was essentially just Woah Vicky saying the most racist shit you've ever heard in your life in her black scent. Danielle posted a video reacting to the diss track, and she called Woah Vicky disgusting. That's part 1, okay? Part 2 is Vicky allegedly calling Danielle's friend a racial slur. Checks out. So Danielle is over Vicky's shit, and nary the coward, when Danielle sees Vicky out and about, she decides to tighten her hood over her hair and confront the girl at what appears to be the Americana.
You're so loud, you're so big and bad. The fuck, always doing shit on camera, big do something
It's
now.
all for the kids.
Okay, then do it then. Then do it. Look at you,
Wait,
you're a pussy.
son.
You see me a picture, you ran. I was right next to you, you're a pussy. Okay, but
God, I could go for a sprinkles cupcake. And yes, that is 9-year-old Lil Tay. Different lore for a different day. Danielle is blocked by a bunch of extremely tall men, so she is unable to make contact with Vicky. However, one thing about Danielle, when she is determined to make something happen, she will. So when Vicky continues shit-talking her online, she decides to pull up. It's very much giving,
when I leave, you want to keep doing this. But then when I come around, you don't want to post up.
Vicky and Danielle pull at each other's hair for a good 45 seconds in the studio before Danielle is escorted out. I will say that Vicky did have her on the floor, okay? I'll give her that. Vicky later did an interview with the Shade Room, of course, and she said that the whole feud was all about clout from her end, even though Danielle took it extremely seriously. Who knows if it was real or for the clout or whatever, but what matters is that the internet was really fed there for a few months. Danielle found herself in even more controversy later that year when she went to a Fashion Nova party and threw a drink at Igloo, Australia. And thank God for journalism, because once again, the Shade Room got the footage. I gotta say, they were a great resource for this video because they document everything Bhad Bhabie does. You're gonna be seeing a lot of TSR watermarks in this video, okay? Let's roll the clip. See, Danielle and Iggy had problems on social media that stemmed from Iggy insinuating in a comment that no one was gonna see Danielle on tour. And Danielle gagged her, I fear, with the response, "You should come. Would be a good memory for you of what a sold-out show looks like." It was like the modern day good luck booking that stage you speak of. Anyway, after the drink is thrown, Danielle is kicked out, and both she and Iggy share an abundance of stories and tweets regarding the incident. To Iggy, this is a teenage girl, and she's not about to fight a kid in the club. She came to the party with a bag, and she left with a bag, and a slightly damp wig, and now she was ready to move on. Also, the Dr. Phil girl is fat, and when someone calls her out for body shaming, her response? Okay, good. To Danielle, Iggy is a broke, flopping bitch who needed to learn a lesson about talking shit on the internet. She was just being real. Anyway, Bhad Bhabie continues releasing music. She's doing brand deals. She signs a $900,000 deal with Copycat Beauty. And in early 2019, she stars in her very own reality show on Snapchat called Bringing Up Baby, with an H. The show is hugely successful with an estimated 10 million viewers in the first 24 hours. It shows her yelling at her mom, yelling at her bodyguard, going bowling, recording her album, all of that. She even talks about the Iggy Azalea confrontation.
I looked over, seen someone's wig was looking a little dry. We're trying to moisten it up.
She said, like, who would go to a Bhad Bhabie show? And it's like, what? You just had 2 sold-out tours. Like, what is she talking about?
Throughout 2019, Bhad Bhabie continued to prove herself. It was like she was unstoppable, outside of the incessant beefs, of course. But there was one beef that stood out from all the others, and y'all could not stop talking about it in the comment section of my Bhad Bhabie TikTok series. So here we go. Let's recap Malu Trevejo and the Battle of the Instagram Lives. This whole situation really goes back to the previous year when Danielle started dating rapper and alleged first-degree murderer NBA YoungBoy. It all started with them posting pictures of each other on Instagram, and then next thing you know, Danielle posts this Snapchat cuddled up next to a guy with an emoji covering him. But if you look closely, you can see NBA YoungBoy's scar and face tats, so the jig was up pretty much immediately. They're getting backlash about dating because of the 3-year age gap. YoungBoy's 18 and Danielle is 15, but otherwise everything's going pretty well. Until another teenage influencer gets caught up in the mix. Malu Trevejo was a Musical.ly and Instagram star who allegedly started seeing NBA YoungBoy around this time. And Danielle was pretty upset about it because she and Malu had actually been on and off again friends. I put air quotes around it because it was very much giving frenemies. Even when they actually were getting along, they would shade each other on Instagram Live together. Typical teenagey stuff. They'd fight and shade each other online, they'd make up and go live together, then they'd be fighting and shading each other again. Malu also frequently used the N-word, which was very interesting. Anyway, their friendship sours and it turns into a massive social media back and forth. They're both constantly going live and posting on Snapchat with fighting words, literally.
I'll beat the fuck out of you, you little bitch. You know exactly who I'm talking about too.
Malu claims that she sent Danielle her address to pull up. Danielle claims that she's been telling Malu to pull up. It's a mess. And the girls are coming for each other in any way they possibly can. Danielle posts that Malu is a wannabe Cardi B. Malu says that Danielle's an idiot for getting NBA YoungBoy's name tattooed on her when they weren't even dating. And on top of all of this, both of them are referencing a past hookup with each other and blaming that for the other person's saltiness. Not gonna dwell on or detail that kind of stuff with these minors, but trust and believe it was getting weird. During this period of time, whenever the frenemies would get on Instagram Live together, it sounded like this.
look at these paragraphs. Look at these paragraphs.
bitch!
Also, the fact that Billie Eilish was tuned in here, priceless. This back and forth online goes on for months before the straw finally breaks the camel's back. Malu is added to a group chat with Danielle and Youngboy. I don't know if this is a legit screenshot, okay? This isn't from a reliable source like the Shade Room, you know what I mean? I got this from Daily SDRT. But if this was real, it looks like she was just added to the group chat to be bullied. Youngboy is joking that Danielle wants to hook up with her again. Danielle is saying that NBA Youngboy has been making comments about her undercarriage. It's very much giving Brandi Glanville versus Joanna Krupa. It's a disaster. So Malu decides to call Danielle up and confront her about it. On camera, of course.
What the fuck you added me on the group chat for? Saying all that dumb ass shit.
I didn't add you in no group chat. Youngboy did. I removed you from the group chat.
Okay, Danielle is denying that she added Malu to the group chat, and NBA Youngboy is just being messy. But Malu won't let it go. She keeps asking over and over again, why did you add me to this messy-ass group chat? What's wrong with you? Why won't you tell NBA Youngboy to leave me alone? And eventually, Danielle just completely loses her patience.
You in love with the man? I don't know what he added me.
With the man, girl, I will come to your house right now and beat the dog shit out of you.
She Ubers an hour and a half to Miami from Boynton Beach, hops the fence to Malu's gated neighborhood, and thankfully for the Chronically Online folks, goes live to document the entire thing.
Come on, you wanted this, man. 3 years. You talk shit for 3 years. Bitch, I'm here now.
Eventually, Danielle and her chaperone locate Malu's house with a bunch of those blow-up Christmas decorations in the front lawn, and it's on. Malu's parents come outside and threaten to call the police, and Danielle is not fazed whatsoever. In fact, she's calling out Malu for refusing to face her, as you can hear her screaming from inside the house. The gag is that Malu's parents are asking, like, who are you? Why are you here? And Danielle's just like, she's been talking shit about me online, so I decided to pull up. Bring her out here. I just have to play the clip of her talking to this guy.
She really at her house, y'all. Malu's not coming out the door.
Because she has talked shit about me for 3 years. She always says she gonna fight me. So I'm here to fight her. Tell her come out the fucking house.
Begging her stepdad to tell her to come outside and fight in front of the hula dancing Santa is wild. He assures Danielle that he's not gonna call the police or anything crazy, but she's gotta go. And she makes this grown-ass man promise her that his teenage daughter will stop coming for her online. Malu, who again has been screaming from inside the house the entire time, takes to Instagram story to assure her followers that she wanted to come out, but she was being held back. She was ready for the smoke, but she just couldn't get out the door. A likely story. Honestly, this feud was very long-lasting and widely witnessed, but to me, it's kind of a nothing burger. Eventually, they became friends again and started swapping skincare secrets on each other's Instagram lives. Danielle was even sharing some of her Italian family's pasta recipes. But this type of cultural exchange, so to speak, doesn't always work out too well. If you noticed in the Instagram live of Danielle pulling up to fight, she had a very particular hairstyle that didn't really go over well with the internet. Box braids. In the year of our Lord 2019. She responded via Instagram story defending the decision, comparing it to black females wearing wigs, and manifesting that all the mad, bald-headed hoes have insomnia. The internet exploded with backlash, yes to the box braids, but more so to Danielle's disrespect for black women. This was someone who relied on support from the black community to propel her career forward, and now she was facing backlash from those same people because she had appropriated too close to the sun. She followed up with another Instagram story, pushing back again at her haters for misconstruing her words. She wasn't talking to all black women who had wigs, just the ones who were coming for her. She's not offended by black women in wigs, she's just using their own logic against them. She also posted a video sarcastically apologizing to her haters before telling them to, from the bottom of her heart, suck her dick. Clearly, this did not help her situation. She received even more attacks from women of all races and wig varieties before taking to her Instagram story once again to denounce her fame. Danielle insisted that she was too real for Hollywood, so she'd gone back to Florida to be with her family and get back to her roots. At the top of 2020, she announced that she would be taking a break from social media for the sake of her mental health. She was tired of the racism accusations, and all of the hate was just too much for a 16-year-old girl to handle. In the words of supermodel Barbie from Cycle 3 of America's Next Top Model, she couldn't take the pressure of it and she wanted to go home.
Don't you think any job interview...
But thankfully, the hiatus didn't last long. Hi! She knew tea was coming. You know she's a Virgo. She really loves drama that doesn't involve her. She returned the following month with a new song and her next feud with the one and only Airplane Thriller. And her mother. No! Okay, she doesn't like Airplane Thriller. So allegedly, Skai got on her Finsta and made a comment about wanting to date NBA YoungBoy. I don't know why this man is at the center of all of these feuds, but it's very interesting to me. I'm not sure I really get it. She'd also started liking his Instagram pictures. This was a big problem because Danielle had dated NBA YoungBoy, and now she felt like Skai was trying to get to him because she was so obsessed with her. It just wasn't adding up because Skai had also allegedly shit-talked Danielle's tattoos and NBA YoungBoy's herpy dick. That's a direct quote.
You on there talking shit about me, talking about my tattoo, talking about, oh, she's so obsessed with YoungBoy's herpy dick and da-da-da.
Apparently, Skai had also started getting her nails done at Glam House, which made this about so much more than a man. Danielle felt like Skai was trying to be her. She was a jealous, ex-attempted friend turned fan, and Danielle was determined to obliterate her. There was no shortage of threats, or, well, promises.
I will kill you.
Skai's only response to Danielle was listing out her accomplishments because she had no time for the negativity. But at this point, the feud was getting so much bigger than two teenage girls fighting over a boy. The mothers got involved. Danielle commented on Skai's mom's Instagram asking her to get a hold of Skai's Finsta, and all hell broke loose. Even more than it already had. And Skai's mom, Kaya, was fully giving Mary Cosby with her response, "Little girl." Barbara Ann even jumped in to defend her daughter's honor. This started a full-fledged back and forth between the moms. Bitch, you ain't saying nothing but a word. I mean, this was absolutely nuts. After the mothers got involved, the situation blew up to another level. The feud was being covered by publications like TMZ, People Magazine, and E! News. Even the Queen of Brooklyn, God rest her soul, gave her take on it.
Now she doing too much, doing too much. You coming for that little girl because that girl is smarter than you and she black? Bad Barbie, you want to be fucking black. She don't need no fame or nothing. And her mother should be fucking locked up. Her mother should be in fucking jail. Because if that was a black girl, they would have fucking locked her mother up and put that little bitch in a fucking group home.
Skai Jackson eventually filed for a temporary restraining order against Danielle, ordering her to stay at least 100 feet away. Apparently, she had also DM'd Skai with even more threats. In the messages, Skai said that she never liked any anti-Bad Baby posts, she never shit-talked her, and that people were just making up things to cause drama. In response, Danielle told Skai to shut up and hide because she was coming to beat her like a dude. It was beginning to look like she was the aggressor and Skai was just an innocent target who was being wrongfully accused. But Danielle insisted that was all just an act. In fact, she responded to the restraining order with a Fashion Nova outfit photo on Instagram, encouraging Skai to go ahead and get her restraining order because she was too busy getting checks. @FashionNova #ad. Shortly thereafter, a statement was shared to Bad Baby's Instagram noting that she would be taking more time off to go to treatment. TMZ reported at the time that the treatment was for mental health issues and substance abuse. And it tracked. Danielle had been in the public eye for years without much peace, on top of the situation she grew up in that led her to the Dr. Phil show in the first place. Throughout her drama with the box braids and Skai Jackson, Danielle was a regular staple on Instagram Live. And if you actually listened to what she was saying, there was pain there.
No matter what money you have, no matter what car you drive, look, I'm sitting in a fucking Bentley right now, ready to fucking cry my eyes out. Money don't get you. I don't know why people think money gets you happiness or this, that, and the third. Like I said, I'm sitting in a fucking Bentley right now with my fucking $3,000 bag, and still my life is shit.
On that same Instagram Live, Danielle talked about her mom surviving 2 rounds of breast cancer, growing up in a household without her dad, and dealing with public backlash. Up to this point, Danielle had an infamously tough exterior, but in a moment of vulnerability, it became very clear that she was mentally going through it. What's interesting about this live, though, is that Danielle started talking about Dr. Phil and Turnabout Ranch. Her mother was promised that if they came on the Dr. Phil show, Danielle would be able to go to this expensive ranch for free. That was the whole reason why they went on the show, aside from Danielle's mom emailing Dr. Phil's team trying to get on the show since Danielle was a toddler. But this was Barbara Ann's chance to actually get on the show and take care of her daughter. And this ultra expensive, amazing, world-renowned ranch was hell. The 6 months that Danielle spent there were some of the worst in her life, and according to her, that treatment scarred her forever. She didn't really elaborate at the time, but we would get the full story about what Danielle endured at Turnabout Ranch soon enough. After Danielle went into treatment, statement, Skai Jackson dropped the restraining order, and Danielle received a lot of support, especially from other celebrities. Shortly after her release, in the thick of 2020, Danielle released a new music video for her song Do It Like Me, featuring celebrities like Charli XCX, Blac Chyna, and Demi Lovato. Danielle also started dating a new guy named Levon at this time, and things seemed to be on the up and up. But the up and up went downhill pretty quickly when Danielle unintentionally picked a fight with a woman who arguably paved the way for female rappers like Danielle to exist in the first place. I'm talking about Kimberly Jones, better known as Lil' Kim. It all started with a glam session in April 2020 with celebrity makeup artist Alex Jarris. He's very well known, very respected, and has worked with celebrities like Blac Chyna and Cynthia Bailey. But when Danielle posted a video showing off the look, the backlash was immediate. She looked a lot more tan than usual, which led to people accusing her of blackfishing. And on top of that, when Alex Jarris shared the look and the list of products to his page, a lot of people noticed that the foundation was from Black Opal. Black Opal is a beauty brand known for catering its products to people with darker skin tones. If you look at their liquid foundation right now on the website, you'll see that they have a lot of different shades for darker skin tones, and they don't really go that light. This is a brand that's meant to fill the gap that a lot of Black women experience when they're trying to find a foundation and they can't find a shade that matches. So now everyone is double pissed because not only are you blackfishing, but you're also using a foundation that's meant for women of color. Danielle decides to pop off on Instagram Live and address the backlash in perhaps the worst way possible. First, she explains that her skin was not unusually dark in person. It was the ring light that Alex used to do her makeup that created the illusion of brown. Danielle was very clear. She was not trying to be black, and that was very obvious from her behavior.
If I wanted to be fucking black, you would hear me talking about I'm black. I would be saying the N-word. I would be fucking doing shit that black people do. The fuck, I don't act black. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Who wants to be black? I don't understand that. I really just can't comprehend it.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. So unfortunately, at this point, Danielle has used the N-word. So that did happen, but I want to focus on the last part. What do you mean when you say, who wants to be black? Maybe she misspoke. Let's keep watching.
Lil' Kim wears fucking foundation and no disrespect towards Lil' Kim. I'm actually a fan of her. I no disrespect towards her, but the girl wears foundation that's too light for her face. The girl went and got a nose job to have a smaller nose like white people. Like, y'all don't see that? She turned herself into, and I'm like I said, no disrespect towards her. I don't got no problem with it. She do what make her happy. That's on her. But like I'm saying, she literally got surgery to make herself look like a white person. She's wearing fucking white like makeup that's light, and y'all don't say a goddamn word about her.
I'm not sure why Lil' Kim had to be dragged into it to prove her point, but the gist is essentially, Lil' Kim is trying to be white, so why are y'all mad at me, right? Is that the point? And what's more, Danielle continued to put her foot in her mouth throughout the rest of her live.
Y'all say that I try to be black because maybe a reason of me trying to be black because I grew up in the hood. Tarzan, right? Tarzan was with the monkeys. He grew up with that. That's all he knows.
Personally, I think the comparison to Tarzan growing up with monkeys was very interesting. It was an interesting choice here. All of this to say, the live did not go over well. It did not help her case. In fact, it made everything a lot worse. Now she dragged Lil' Kim into it, who is very much loved and respected. The thing is that Lil' Kim has had a very tough life, and she's been in several relationships where she has felt the need to alter her appearance to appease her abusive partners and keep them from cheating on her with white women. She's been extremely open about that. So to bring her up as an example of someone who is cosplaying as a different race is a little fucked up. That's just my opinion. You can let me know what you think about that. Lil' Kim actually appeared to respond to the situation on Instagram story. She definitely flipped it to a positive, but Danielle's comparisons on this Instagram live left a lasting impact on her reputation. It got so bad that Danielle's friend and fellow rapper Coi Leray joined her on Instagram live to essentially coax her into apologizing and explain the situation. On the live, Coi told Danielle that she feels the need to defend herself so much that it's constantly landing her in hot water. In reality, she could just be letting the criticism roll off her back. Let them be mad at your box braids, let them be mad at your makeup, just focus on your life and move on. And according to Coi, Danielle is not racist. She just gets heated and misspeaks. But when she does misspeak, she needs to take accountability and understand where her fans are coming from.
You know what you said was wrong. So number one, we're gonna apologize for it. No. Ain't no.
What I said wasn't wrong. They
no,
took
listen,
it wrong.
no.
Okay, so she wasn't exactly trying to apologize, but eventually she got there.
Just apologize.
Apologize for what?
Apologize for if you feel like if anybody felt offended.
Yeah. No, 100%.
What you talking about?
If anyone took my words and twisted them in their head and
just say no. Just get to the point. No.
Stop.
If
anyone took offense to what I said, I apologize. My comment wasn't made even towards black people. I was talking about myself, period. I wasn't comparing myself to...
You don't have to explain. That's it.
Okay, that's it. Yeah,
that's it. That's your problem.
If anyone took it the wrong way, I'm sorry. That's your fault. I didn't.
No, that's it. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
That's not their fault. That's just say I'm sorry.
Their fault. No,
just say, bro. That's it.
I mean, the word sorry was in there, right? Danielle had been battling her haters on a daily basis for years, and there was no stopping it. She was so inundated with shit talk that none of it really landed or resonated. It just pissed her off, especially because she often expressed feeling misunderstood. But as I mentioned earlier, there was a lot going on in her life and a lot that she was coping with behind the scenes. Danielle had experienced torment and trauma that she carried with her throughout her newfound fame, and it was taking its toll. It was around this time that Danielle started talking about her time at Turnabout Ranch more candidly. In early 2021, Danielle went on Instagram Live and talked about how instead of treating kids for their trauma, this ranch just gave them even more of it. This camp was supposed to treat kids of divorce, kids who were having trouble coping with their adoption, kids whose parents had caught them smoking weed. And with the way that this camp was run, you would think that these kids had committed the worst sins known to man. She told a story about getting in trouble for singing with the other girls and having to walk outside for 5 days straight without taking a shower or changing her clothes.
They wouldn't let me change my socks. I got athlete's foot from it, and I had a UTI. I told the nurse I had a UTI from them not letting me change my underwear. I told the nurse, she said, "You're just looking for an excuse to go to the hospital so you can run away."
Over the course of a few videos, Danielle detailed even more abuse she endured. She was both force-fed and starved on different occasions. When she was sick, she wasn't treated. There was another kid there who murdered a staff member. It was horrific. And when Danielle attempted to send her mother letters about what she was experiencing, the letters were confiscated. Her story was corroborated by other teens who had experienced sleeping on planks and being retaliated against for reporting abuse from staff members. She even appeared in the HBO documentary Teen Torture Incorporated to share her story. Danielle's videos about the ranch garnered millions of views, and the comments were full of other people talking about other camps that they'd gone to and how they'd experienced similar horrible things. She also posted a video reacting to her initial Dr. Phil segment and pointed out some pretty classic TV editing tricks and manipulations.
Do you have an accent of some sort?
Tell them where it comes from, you know.
From the street.
Bro, I didn't even say that.
Okay, so
He said, where does it come from? I said, from Boynton. They made it say the streets.
And she noted the ways in which Dr. Phil had made fun of her during her interview. On top of that, the audience was actually heckling her, which led to her viral lash out. I actually didn't remember hearing it, but if you listen closely, you can hear the audience member.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yeah.
"We're not the hoes, you are" is kind of a crazy thing for a grown woman to shout at a 13-year-old. Did they ever do that on Maury? I feel like they didn't do that on Maury. I don't know. Dr. Phil was cooked after this. He was sued by another guest on his show for sending her to the ranch where she was repeatedly abused and punished for reporting it. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Phil had a financial agreement with the ranch, and he was sending guests from his show there as part of that agreement. As a result, more teens got abused, and the ranch got excellent publicity from it. Now, Dr. Phil's team denies having any sort of financial connection to the ranch, but they were sending a lot of their teen guests there and promoting the ranch very heavily on air. Dr. Phil was covering these kids' treatment. Obviously, there was some sort of agreement there, whether it was just a PR exchange or something more. Unfortunately, the case was dismissed by a judge after Dr. Phil's team filed a motion to throw it out because the show constituted free speech and everything that was alleged had happened on the show. I'm not a lawyer and it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's essentially the gist. Nothing ever came of the show. He still does it, albeit a little bit different now, and the ranch is still around. You can Google it. It's still open, even though it has a lot of 1-star reviews. And Dr. Phil's new show is called Dr. Phil Primetime, and he interviews people like Donald Trump. It's a mess. In short, fuck Dr. Phil. I mean, right? Fuck Dr. Phil. Anyway, back to Danielle. On April Fool's Day 2021, Danielle broke the internet once again just 6 days after turning 18. Her access to money over the past few years had been severely limited by her mother. She only had a credit card with a $500 limit. Despite Danielle being the breadwinner for her family, it was Barbara Ann who called the shots, and she was calling them pretty badly. Danielle wanted financial stability again, so she and her manager plotted a pretty big move. OnlyFans. Within 6 hours of her offering subscriptions, she made $1 million. After years of being covered up to avoid claims of exploitation by her management team, Bhad Bhabie was exposing herself in a whole new way, and the men were eating it up. Danielle was on top of the world. Later that year, she launched her own record label called BHAD Music and released a new song called Misunderstood. And then, our girl laid low. She still posted on social media and did interviews, but she was nowhere near as present on the Shade Room as she had been in previous years. Hello again. She heard Shade Room and came running. That's my daughter. And throughout these next few years, she's dating Levon, the rapper at the center of her current feud with Alabama Barker. It's a little tumultuous. They break up and see other people at least one point, but eventually they get back together. They even have a daughter together in early 2024. But things go south that summer when Danielle reveals that she's been in a domestic violence situation with Levon, and now he's seeking full custody of their child. She posts video and photo evidence of the abuse that is absolutely horrifying. And the public response is pretty swift, even though she deletes the evidence pretty quickly. When Danielle decides to take Levon back, people really do not understand. But according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, on average, it takes a domestic violence survivor 7 times to leave before they stay away for good. It's really not an easy choice, so you're not gonna catch me judging a survivor for their process. And if you do that, I'm gonna block you. To make matters worse, at the end of 2024, Danielle's fans are bombarding her with questions about her weight loss. She responds by revealing that she has been dealing with cancer. So not only are you in a horrible relationship, but you're a new mom and you have cancer. It's just an awful situation all around, and it gets even worse when Danielle finds out that Levon cheated on her with one of her closest friends. Enter Miss Alabama Barker. Here's how it all went down from Danielle's perspective. She and Levon are drinking together one night, which leads to a blow-up argument. In the midst of the drama, she calls Chief Keef, Sosa, and asks him to pick her up. They hang up, but when Sosa calls her back, Levon answers. In the Instagram Live where she's telling this story, she refers to her calling Sosa in the first place as cheating.
I was the one that cheated first. I cheated by calling Sosa from the jump.
Obviously, that is not true. This sends Levon into a complete rage and he starts abusing her again. Her hand ends up getting slammed in the door, and the way she tells it is that it happened on accident when she was following him out of the house to keep him from leaving. Meanwhile, Sosa's still on the phone and hearing all of this go down. He picks her up, calls a doctor over to look at her hand, and she ends up sleeping there. When she wakes up, she FaceTimes one of Levon's friends, who can tell from the background where she is. He relays this information to Levon, who then packs his shit and goes to stay in a hotel room for 2 weeks. This is when he allegedly first hooks up with 18-year-old Alabama Barker. They end up getting back together, and one day when Danielle's scrolling through Instagram, she notices that Alabama unfollowed her. Curious. She calls a mutual friend to ask if something's going on, if Alabama is mad at her for something, and the friend tells her that she heard a rumor about Alabama and Levon. So now Danielle's asking both of them what the hell's going on. They're both denying ever hooking up. Alabama's saying that they only met and exchanged numbers, but it's not really making sense. To make matters even worse, a couple weeks later when Danielle's with her family in Florida, she checks his location, and where is he? He is at Alabama Barker's fucking house. He's not answering his phone, so she calls Alabama to ask if he's there, and she says no. A few minutes later, Alabama calls her back and finally admits that yes, she and Levon have hung out a couple of times, but they've never hooked up. And what's more, Levon denied that he was himself, like he was telling Alabama that he was not Bhad Bhabie's man. I don't know. To Danielle, this is not adding up for a couple of reasons. First of all, Levon has Danielle's name tattooed on his neck. Secondly, Alabama has met Levon at Danielle's house, so she knows what he looks like. And I gotta say, Alabama's getting the brunt of the action here because Danielle expects this behavior from a man, but from her close friend, it's just a little bit too much to handle on top of being a new mom and having cancer. Danielle posted some shit talk about Alabama on her Finsta, and this is when the girls really start fighting.
Someone sent her the post from my Finsta and she DMs me and she's like, I don't want to be nothing like you, Dr. Phil loser, bitch. And your bum ass man keeps hitting me up. He wants me so bad, confessing his love to me, da da da.
Alabama also sends her text messages between herself and Levon, showing him as the pursuer. But when Danielle fact checks her by looking at Levon's messages, she sees that Alabama has deleted a lot of her responses. And she shares those true screenshots publicly. So now Danielle just thinks that Alabama's being even more dishonest than she was in the first place. Their friendship is over, as is her relationship with Levon, even though you see him walking around in the background of this very live. When Danielle spills to the public, Alabama responds with a series of Instagram stories detailing her side. She didn't think that Levon was Levon. He said he was single, and all of this has been going on for about a year. Alabama said that Levon was harassing her, and she wanted nothing to do with him. She also said that he threw a bottle at her. It was just a mess. Like, why are we fighting over this man? This man needs jail or therapy or both. He needs therapy in jail, I think. Yeah. The two have continued this back and forth for the last couple of months, even releasing competing diss tracks. In Danielle's diss track, she comes for Alabama, Travis Barker, Kourtney Kardashian, Kim Kardashian. She claims that Alabama has hooked up with Tyga and Soulja Boy and that she was pregnant with Tyga's baby. She did not hold back whatsoever. She even sampled a Kanye West song and used a Travis Barker lookalike in the music video. Including Soulja Boy in the diss track also started its own sort of spin-off drama. He went live on Instagram to talk his shit and make his threats. I don't even know where to begin with the things that this man was saying when he was live. He came for Danielle for cultural appropriation, for being a domestic violence survivor, for having cancer. He threatened to hurt her, to sue her. Basically, he just came for her entire existence.
Crackhead ass bitch. Go snort another line. Your mama a crackhead too, bitch. Go snort another line. You and your mama, your whole family some crackheads. Money ain't gonna never change that, bitch. I don't give a fuck how much money you make from OnlyFans from shaking that little crackhead booty.
Now, if you know your Cat Stacks history, this is a very interesting choice of an insult for Soulja Boy to say. One day, I'm gonna tell that story. That is chronically online history. They need a Cat Stacks exhibit in the Smithsonian. I'm not joking. Anyway, Barbara Ann had a lot to say about Soulja Boy's threats. During the live, Soulja Boy had alleged that Danielle had tried to hook up with him. But Barbara Ann wondered when this was, because Soulja Boy's 34 and Danielle is 21 now. And bless her heart, she tagged the Shade Room to make sure we'd get the scoop. In response, Soulja Boy shared unanswered DMs from Danielle. Unanswered as in he removed or unsent his responses, I don't know. Regardless, I'm not on Soulja Boy's side. I'm never on Soulja Boy's side. I wasn't even on his side when they played his music at my middle school dance. I was not cranking it. Fuck that. As for the latest, the feud is very much still active. We are all reeling from BHAD BHABIE'S music video for her diss track, and Alabama has turned off her comments on all of her social media and says that she is coming forward with her own diss track in response very soon. But a lot has happened, including an attempt to duke it out at the Calabasas Commons. But what really cinches the waist for me about this whole feud is that Hair by Jay is Danielle's hairstylist, but he also used to be Alabama's hairstylist. All roads lead to Trisha Paytas. Since Danielle got her start on Dr. Phil with her viral moment, she has had plenty of ups and downs. She has multiple gold records and multiple controversies. She's also had several situations in her life that were very exploitative and wrong from a young age. I gotta say it again, fuck Dr. Phil. And you too, Robin, you had me fooled. Whether you love her, you hate her, or you loosely know her from the Shade Room, Danielle Bregoli BHAD BHABIE is here to stay. At least until this feud is over, and who knows, maybe this will inspire her to release more music. She's got a knack for it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like internet history, reality TV, and pop culture, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And on that note, bye bitch.